Hello Airsoft friends, and welcome to this video today, where today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a comparison between two Glocks which I have. I received my SSP18 yesterday, of which you can see it's here, it's very shiny, it's very new, and it's very pretty. I love this whole green lower, black upper. It's a metal slide, it's super snappy, and also it is not a floating outer barrel, it's fixed, and I really like that for many reasons, but we're going to get into them in this video, and I'm going to be comparing my Novritsch SSP18, because it's the gas one, not the electric one, which is the SSE18. You can't get those confused, because they're two very different riffs, but they're also quite similar too, but also very different at the same time. And I'm going to be comparing it to my Tokyo Marui G18C, which was, I think it was like, you know, after my Mark 23, the second pistol I ever bought, or the first, yeah, I bought this one after I had my Mark 23, and I've used this for ages. It's very good. I do enjoy it. I have put upgrades into it, and you know what? It is pretty darn consistent. It's got good range. It's got good accuracy. You can see some of the upgrades there. I've put a bigger barrel in there. I'll put a longer Maple Leaf Crazy Jet in a barrel in there. I've also put a better outer barrel on there. It's like a full aluminium one, so it's not plastic like the original one comes with, and it's also got threads at the end there, so if I want to put a tracer unit on there I can. If I want to put a suppressor on there I can. I don't put suppressors on it though, because it's not going to make any difference, because the slide goes bang every time you take a shot, but I do use it for tracers when I want to play CQB in dark places. That comes in very handy. I've also put a new hot probber in there, and I've got a Hadrian Designs H key in there as well, H plate, H key type thing. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's one of those things in there. Maybe it's a fang plate. They all kind of do the same kind of thing, and I find that that's very good for, you know, giving me a much better like hop touching onto the BB itself, which then again increases accuracy and performance. But we're going to be looking at the kind of like the general, you know, on the skin of the surface, what kind of differences these riffs have, where they're good, where they may not be so good, and you know, potentially it help you decide with what you want to buy. So without further ado, let's get close to my face and take a little bit of a closer look at them. So from my current knowledge of both of them, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Tokyo Marui Glock has less features. Now I know that's probably going to be saying, like, you know, not a lot, or maybe it's saying a lot about the riffs. I'm not too sure, but the Tokyo Marui one, if you're taking this and looking at this stock, you're going to have like the regular kind of short barrel, so it's going to be finishing off about there, and it's performance wise it's okay, it does the job. For me, I'm not too picky about pistol performance, just because with pistols, generally speaking, you don't really want or need a huge amount of range. You just want it to draw quickly, be comfortable in your hand, and just kind of like function consistently and perform well for you. The thing I really like about the G18C is the fact that it has the option to go full auto, because I find myself, you know, thinking I want to have as much, you know, kind of performance options and usability from riffs that I get. I have used this quite a lot, I would say, out in the field. I'm not a huge pistol person. I kind of find myself having decision paralysis if I carry my pistol with me a lot. Out of the box, this thing is very good. It fits nicely on your hand. It's quite small for a pistol. Compared to a high capper, it's tiny. A lot of other high cappers, they're quite fat, that they're, you know, especially compared to a Mark 23 as well. It fits in your hand really nicely. It is a little bit slidey on the grip though. Like, it's not like terrible. It's not like it's just gonna like slide out of your hand, but it does have, you know, compared to the Novritsch SSP18, I would say that this isn't as grippy, and that's something which is something I quite like on the SSP18. One thing the Tokyo Marui Glock has is these little bits in with your fingers, and that is actually super comfortable. It does feel nice, but even though the Novritsch SSP18 doesn't have that bit there, it's just like kind of smooth all the way down, it actually does feel nicer for some reason. It feels a bit more ergonomic. It feels a bit more comfortable in my hand, like a bit more like it's meant to be there. And I really like the fact it's got this little bit of grip up here and up here as well, or stippling, I'd say, rather than grip, because it's not like super grippy, but it's there for, it's stippling is more the correct word for it. The TM Glock, I do enjoy the bent-in bit here, and also here for the thumb to go in. I feel like that is really comfortable. So you know what, between the two of them, it's a very tight decision between which is the most comfortable one. I feel like in a general kind of like trigger holding position, I feel like the TM one is better, because the flat trigger is kind of a new experience to me on the Novritsch Glock, on the SSP18, and I'm not too sure how I feel about that yet. I kind of want to get out in the field and use it a lot more before I give you a full-on kind of like opinion on how that feels. At the minute, it's just different. You know, it's not wrong or bad. It's just a different kind of feeling at the minute, having it be flat. And you know, usually with my Glock, when my finger kind of gets to here, that's where the trigger has already been pulled. But then here, it goes back more, and then that's where the trigger pull comes. So it feels like I'm squeezing the trigger lots compared to the TM Glock, but again, I think that's more of a muscle memory and getting used to it kind of thing as opposed to anything else. In terms of the slide, the TM Glock comes with a plastic slide on the top, and as you can see on this part here where it catches on the little, like the slide catch there, it has broken away some of the plastic and releasing and showing through some of the metal on there, which isn't fantastic and potentially, you know, could exacerbate later down the line. But the cool thing about the Novritsch Glock is the top slide is completely metal, and this is much more of a positive action. That feels really solid, it feels really nice, it feels snappy, and it feels just much more premium, I would say, than the Tokyo Marui Glock. Like, having the full metal slide on the top, it does add more weight to the wrist, but it's a comfortable type of weight. It's a kind of weight where it's a positive feeling and makes me feel like I've got something more substantial in my hand, and that's something I'm looking forward to using in the field. Now, next up, I would say, is the little auto or the semi-auto selector, and to be honest, on this one here, I'm going to give it to the TM Glock, just because it feels much more of a smoother motion, much more of a positive kind of change on there. And you know what, the Novritsch one, it may like free up over time. Like this, I've swapped it between semi-auto and full auto so much, and it feels super comfortable, it feels super smooth. So yeah, like at the minute, this just feels much more better and easier. And also single hand cocking like that, at the minute on the TM Glock, it's definitely more like comfortable. But again, I guess that comes from muscle memory, because if you're like in a position where you draw it and you've got like a grenade or something in your other hand and you need to cock it, it's good to practice your single hand cocking. Maybe it's like because the slide is metal and there's more like angle parts in it, it makes it a bit more like uncomfortable. But you know what, that's the more I do that, the easier it seems to get, and the better it seems to feel in my hand as well. So I'd say, you know, I think with a bit of muscle memory and a bit of practicing with that as a riff, that's going to get much easier. There's something really cool about that as well. Like, if you go out and you don't want to have your like pistol cocked in your like holster, which, you know, you're completely perfectly fine to do, then this is something which you definitely want to kind of like learn and get to grips with, because it's just so, you know, there's just something really fun about walking up to somebody, coming out like here, cocking your pistol, and then just bang, taking them out. You feel like you're in like a movie or like an action flick, something like that. It's just something so cool about pulling out your pistol, doing the old one-hand cock, and then that's it, son, you did. A surprising thing I found when looking at both of these Glocks as well was the actual magazines themselves. I've never really felt like I've experienced a premium magazine or quality type magazine when I've been, you know, messing around with like airsoft guns and sidearms and things like that. But in all honesty, putting the Novritsch mag up next to the TM mag, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but the Novritsch mag here is like, it's got like a bit of a texture to it, whereas the regular mag, the TM magazine, doesn't. Generally speaking, you may think that doesn't seem like a big deal, but actually you'd be wrong in that. It is a big deal. Not only does it feel different, not only does it make it feel premium and more quality, but when you're using your mag in a mag pouch, it's going to make it stick in there a bit more. One of the bane of my existences with pistols is losing mags out in the field. And one of the reasons why I lose mags out in the field is because they're so bloody smooth. The metal is so smooth that they come out of the small pistol magazine pouches, and then they're just gone and you can't find them. But with the Novritsch one, it's got this kind of like semi-rough texturing on there, which you can feel there, but it definitely adds a lot of friction to the mag pouch when you've got it in there. I was playing with them earlier with the Nov pouches that came with it, which are actually really good, to be fair. The sidey grippy things on them, very, very nice. If you do need some mag pouches, I'd recommend getting those for sure. But I was playing around with these, and this one, the Novritsch one, definitely does grip into magazine pouches much more than the standard TM ones, and it's very easy to see why. Let me see if I can do a quick test to show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the magazines on this box here, and I'm going to slide it up slowly, and then the one that's less grippy is going to slide off the box first of all. So I've got to put the TM on the right side of the box here. So this is the TM, and that's the Novritsch one, and we're just going to lift it up slowly and see which one slides first. Well, there you go. TM1 slid first. Let's do that again, just to double check and just to make sure. Let's swap sides as well, actually, just to make sure that we are being fair, because there could be, that side could be more slidey than the other side. So let's do that again. There you go. Boom. Science right there. So if you're losing magazines out in the field and you're running a Glock, it may be a good idea just to buy the Novritsch mags anyway, just because they've got that rougher surface, which gives it that extra bit of grip. So yeah, definitely food for thought there. Definitely food for thought. In terms of overall size for these, the TM Glock is smaller. It's a tiny little bit smaller, and especially stock without the extra outer barrel coming out, then it will look even more smaller. Like when I put them on top of each other, the Novritsch pistol sticks out a little bit more there. It looks like the magwell is a tiny little bit deeper. And looking at the front, the nose of the Novritsch pistol also comes out a little bit more, which you can't really see there. And if I didn't have my upgraded outer barrel and inner barrel, then this would be much more flush with the end of the riff and would appear to be a lot more shorter too. So in terms of size, the Novritsch one is a slight bit bigger. It is compatible with the same holsters though. I was testing that earlier, and luckily for me, I don't have to swap out the one that's on my belt rig already, because it already fits. The other thing I like as well about the SSP18 is the fact that it actually has a proper Picatinny rail here underneath, whereas the Glock one, it doesn't have a, it's kind of like a half rail. I'm not really sure what you'd call it, and you've only got one line of Picatinny there, so you're kind of limited in what you can mount and where on the TM Glock. But the Novritsch one, you've got like this full Picatinny rail here, so if I wanted to mount a camera far back, a little bit more forward, if I want to put a torch on there, again, like far back or more forward, I've got a lot of different mounting possibilities there, and that's something which I'm very happy about. Also, I'm going to say aesthetically, I much prefer the look of this. Like, this is definitely supposed to be more resembling of the real world pistol. It is kind of like got the like Glock stamp marks on there, so I imagine that this is, you know, what a real world Glock would look like. However, I must admit, I love the aesthetics of this. I love the color scheme. I love just the choice of the stippling, having the extra stippling up here, the design of the slide and the rail. I think it just makes it look more like a cool riff, and I think that's a decent part of airsoft. Like, we want to look cool, we want to look good while we're airsofting, and I feel like if I'm coming around a corner and I've got this in my hands, I'm gonna feel better about what I'm doing, because I feel like this is a cool riff and it looks cool in my hands, versus this, which looks like a real gun. It's not super important to me to be walking around with something that looks real. I want something to walk around with that looks, you know, cool and interesting, and something that I feel like I've got a, you know, a personal interest in and a connection to, and I feel like I have that with this one here. Also on the Novritsch one, you've got the front fiber optic sight, which in low light level situations is going to be a real godsend to you, because I'm not personally a fan of running like RMR, red dot sights, DOR sights on pistols like that. I feel like target acquisition is a lot harder for me in those situations to use those, so I do much prefer iron sights. And the fact that it's got the fiber optic on the front there, I'm very happy with, because it just makes everything so much easier. Genuinely really does. When you're just running like with the standard like block iron sights on here, sure, it's got the white bit on there so it's easy to see, but the fact that you've got the green on there, it just sticks out so much more and makes it much easier to like get your sights in and yeah, just kind of like get people out by shooting them. And with that being said, that's my initial look at the SSP18 over and done with today. I'm going to be taking it out in the field. I want to play with it, I want to shoot some people with it, and then I'll give you like an in use in the field kind of rundown as well, and like another roundup review on there. But so far, I must say, from, you know, the little bit of playing about I've done with it, the looking at it, the messing about with it in the rigs, I must say that I really like this. I mean, at the minute, aesthetically, this is definitely the favourite pistol that I have, and hopefully it performs as well as I hope it does in the field when we get out there, and yeah, hopefully job's gonna be a good one. Thank you very much for watching this video, and a huge shout out to all my patrons for supporting the channel month on month. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff, so thank you very much to all my lovely patrons. You are lovely. Another way you can support the channel is to buy stuff from projectairsoft.co.uk. Loads of things on there, lots of interesting stuff, and things that you don't even know that you need. So yeah, go check out Project Airsoft. There's a link below in the description. Also a link below to the Patreon as well if you want to join the Patreon too. And if you're looking for some airsoft friends, you can join the StayFreshShoe Airsoft Community Discord as well. Again, link below. Almost 600 airsoft friends in there, all just having a great old time with each other, and you can be having a great old time in there as well. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Remember to call your hits, and I'll see you in the next one.